Live, I'm live. Testing 1, 2, or better yet, testing 1, 3. Don't test 2. Microphone checking out 2. I see 2 green bars on the mic, so I think it's picking up my voice right. So yeah, new day, new thing. Same old money brings. Yeah. So basically, today is gonna be update on the stimulus. I'm gonna update that. Talk about these stock markets. Talk about what's trending business wise, and talk about the crypto thing. So really, all kinds of money. Working on some other stuff right now too. Yeah. So like another thing I'm starting to really like learn about more in detail is like this credit game, right? Like basically like understanding how the credit system works, and basically they use certain algorithms. Once you understand these, it's like education people really never get in school. But if you were to get educated on this from an early age and start doing this, I mean, really, you can start from any age because, like, getting the right credit score means that you can get more and more money that you can use. And if you basically understand it from a business perspective, the more money that you have on credit, the more money they'll give you on credit, the more money that you can put into deals. And yeah, you just got to know how that system works. That's not something that is really being taught. If anything, it's the opposite of how to do it right. People are really exposed to a lot of marketing that tells people to buy stuff that they don't really need with money that they don't really have, to try and flex. Like people are gonna reach a status in life because of what other people think about them based on like the things that they buy. you know uh I mean, really, like, just like anything, right? Like, I mean, if you can afford it, like, hey, what's wrong with it, right? If that's what you want, that's what you're planning to do. But I mean, if in most cases where you got the majority of people in supposedly the richest country in the world that are straight up broke or worse, it tells me that yeah, it's not working right because people are spending this money they don't really have in the wrong way, instead of ways that they can really use it to build up more money and control more money. But yeah, that's something that really I understood like to some extent before, but now I'm really seeing how like that's going to give me help me get to the next level that I'm trying to get to even quicker. And like from what I'm seeing, like the people that really understand this, the level I'm trying to understand this, which I'll really, as I learn about it, I'll inform everybody. I want to do some videos on this too. Just don't understand it well enough yet, other than to kind of summarize what I'm doing right now. But yeah, so it's going to be like I'll pretty much lay out how to really like build this like credit thing up quick. So like even if you have nothing as far as credit goes, and you understand the game and you understand these algorithms and you understand the way that they had this thing set up, like the people who not only have these credit scores high, that they understand how to like leverage debt and everything like that, which I've done in the past to small extents, but really wasn't doing it like consciously like I'm trying to do now. Not only that, but like, so basically, like for all the people that are getting screwed over by these credit card companies with like, 20, 30% interest, and getting themselves in holes they can't get out of. Um, if you understand the game right and you find the right education, the right knowledge that most of these people don't have, that most people have the exact opposite of, the credit card companies will reward you. They'll basically take like a small portion that they're making out of all the people that they're, you know, straight up not educating right, that they're getting into debt because they don't understand how to use this kind of debt effectively. Basically, they take the money that they're like, loan sharking from them, and they'll give you all kinds of crazy rewards and benefits back. It's just all about like, another thing with finance that that basically most people are understanding the exact opposite way of how to make it work right. But yeah, that's just kind of like a preview of what I'm going to get into next time. And before I go, really to get started with today, before I got more to say, always got to make a quick recommendation. Hit that like button if you feel like I'm bringing you value, like I'm trying to do, because that's what I want to do. Is help people see more money flowing, so we can all know where it's going instead of staying stuck. Yeah, we're gonna get this money to everybody because, man, I already know. Like, I've been broke. I've had abundance of money. It's been like, all kinds of different things. But yeah, man, like a lot of these problems out here that I'm seeing, it's a poverty thing. Um, a lot of these problems, I think, and it's not addressed as much as it should be. Um, and it's not like it's some kind of like scheme. It's just that I don't think people really see like past. Like there's like, okay, like people want to say that there's a massive amount of inequality, especially monetarily, in the country I live in, the United States. There's a mass amount of racial inequality. All these different things, right? People like can like point the finger at like different areas, and yeah, sure, they're right about certain things. Like the system is set up to really, help certain people, a small minority of people, and really punish the rest. You know, that's just how the system's set up. But beyond that, it's poverty, right? Like it's even deeper. Like the root cause is poverty. So I'm saying like we get this money flowing to the areas that it's needed, see things more balanced. So like these people don't have like ridiculous excesses of money um, that they generally spend to you know lobby and give to politicians to keep other people down for the most part, to make regulations so that you know keep things more unequal. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, is see everybody get money, provide people with information. So yeah, subscribe, hit the likes, anything you haven't done already, bringing new information steady. So yeah, the stimulus update, pretty much, was looking like they were gonna get this stimulus thing figured out by right when they got back for end of 4th of July. That's what they were saying. But man, they're just stringing people along. Like I think, my opinion, they already know what they're gonna do. They're just really just waiting until like the last possible minute that they can, because who knows why really. But yeah, I think they could have already done stuff. As we've already seen that first stimulus, like a lot of these PPP payments that were made out were really given to some really, really, in my opinion, unworthy people and businesses, um, for many different reasons. So we know they've got a lot of money. We know the government can give out money, massive, massive payouts to people that they favor, right? But what about the people? What about like the people who can't afford to pay lobbyists to get money coming to them, right? Like all the people that got the $1,200 check. But a lot of these people who were already set, right, got way, way, way more money than that. They never have to pay back. So just keep that in mind, right? I'm trying to, everything I'm doing other than say right too much, right, is to really speak the truth about what I see out here, right? So yeah, if I see something that I feel like is just wrong, that I feel like is just not right, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to try to use my information, my education about finance to explain it from that perspective, about money, how money can really solve these problems, how I see it as a poverty thing, being me, right? Like I know both sides, right? Like you could put me in an area of poverty and I've been to those areas before, right? Like I'm comfortable in those areas. I know how to move around in those areas. I know how to talk to people in those areas, right? You can put me in those areas like a lot of these rich people, the reason they hoard their money is because they're worried. They're so worried about like just even like dealing with or even associating with people that don't have money. They're afraid, right? This is what I see. This is what I see with my own eyes. And that's a lot of whole other issue, but they're afraid. They're afraid of people that are in poverty, right? And that's a huge thing right there is just a misunderstanding. Like people in poverty can't connect with people on the 1%, whatever you want to call it, and vice versa. And it's because they don't interact. Like that's a huge thing out here. Like you look at the whole system, you look at society, and there are definitely the system is set up to like keep people separated, to keep people about like especially economic classes separated. That causes a lot of fear, a lot of mistrust, a lot of misunderstanding. And of course, you can see what kind of situations come out of it. But what I'm saying is like I grew up in certain areas. As I got older, I moved into nicer areas. So like I understand I've lived with the poverty and I've lived with the 1%. I see how they are, right? Like I can interact with both crowds. Like I definitely can bring that perspective that a lot of people I see really only have like one perspective, one side, right? As a matter of fact, honestly, I prefer living in I like this is going off topic, but just to say who I am for a second, like I can't stand the suburbs. Like the stuff like the suburbs, like oh man, like that's just like get me out of there, man. Like I just no. Like, but anyways, yeah, I would rather be in like a high rise, nice condo downtown, um, than like the nicest mansion in the like nicest suburb any day. But at the same time, like where have I had the best times in my life? In areas that you would call poverty. Where are most of my friends from? Areas that people would consider to be poverty. That's just the people that I feel the most at ease with, that I just happen to get along with the best. That yeah. So, anyways, I never had this kind of education. All this stuff is stuff that I've learned through searching out myself. Everybody around me growing up, nobody was like nobody understood this stuff, right? I had no mentors to look up to that understood this at this level. Everybody I knew was working class. Everybody I knew was everyone worked for their money. No one that I knew growing up had their money work for them. This is something I pretty much had to learn myself, but I'm really glad I did. So anyway, yeah, the stimulus, yeah, they're waiting. They said now they're waiting until they get back from their next vacation or recess or whatever they want to call it. So not only did they take their 4th of July vacation and, the government and then come back and tell people that, oh, we're going to get this taken care of. They didn't do it. Now they're telling people, oh, we're going to take our next vacation. And when we get back in August, which is after a lot of benefits expire for a lot of people who straight up needed to like scrape by and pay their rent, they're like, yeah, we're just gonna, take our vacation, and then yeah, yeah, that's where our taxes are going. That and then all the people that complain that are out here complaining about, oh well, people don't need handouts. Uh, you know, that's just like enabling people to not work, right? Well, a lot of people can't work right now. Like a lot of people, you know, for whatever reason, they can't work for health reasons, for reasons of not being work available. So, I mean, the Federal Reserve, the Fed, chairman of the Fed already even said, like, hey, if anyone, I would say the Federal Reserve understands the economy better than the majority of these politicians, right? So when the Federal Reserve is saying that the economy needs this money coming through, Hey, that says it all right there. So just so you know, yeah, that's what our government is doing for us with all the money that we spend. And really, so what I was getting at before was really that, a lot of people complain about um, any kind of like payment to people, any kind of welfare like that. But these same people seem to have no problem with the government spending like ridiculously more amounts of money on businesses that fail, that do really shady things. But then here's the crazy thing, right? Is all the money that's spent on the military, it just like that's where the majority of our taxes are going, right? Like, okay, the amount of money that goes to any kind of like welfare, any kind of what I think there should be, universal income. Go look up universal income if you're not sure about it already. But yeah, there could easily be some kind of universal income, and it would still not even come close to the money that America spends on military. The money that our tax dollars go into, that we could see this country be much more productive. People would be much more happy, so much more abundance. The money's already here. It just needs to circulate more. And whatever's being done right now is not working with politicians. So hey, maybe why not just cut them out of the picture? Why not just get more people, get an army of people out here with information, right? I'm not talking about army as in like the way a lot of people understand it is their power comes from like weapons and intimidation and scare tactics. I'm talking about army of people that are going to provide people with information so that they can rise up and that they can pretty much be equal in society financially, and that we can get rid of poverty. And I think it's totally possible. I think it's very, very possible to get rid of poverty. We just have to have enough people out here that want to have that happen, right? Because I'll say straight up, I think a lot of people in power don't want to see, like, they want to see a bigger working class. They want to see more people have to work more hours for less money that benefits them more. They're paying more taxes, like, but that's another thing for another day. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm just trying to say what I see. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna have to wait probably to know on the stimulus thing till like beginning of August, and that's if they don't, you know, push it off for their next vacation. That's where our money's going, everybody. That's where your tax dollars are going. But hey, as long as like people don't say anything, as long as people just put up with it, it's gonna keep happening. We need to get more people. We need to get more truth. We need to see the money flow. Once people start seeing money flow and poverty starts to go, then you already know. Everybody's going to be like, why didn't we do this a long time ago? Why shouldn't everybody be getting it? Why shouldn't everybody be getting money? Why shouldn't everybody be happy and be able to, you know? But hey, moving on to the next thing this time. So markets, looking at the markets, right? They took a dive, but they hit their all-time highs that they pretty much hit before the pandemic. So everybody really that like bought the dip in the markets from the pandemic should have at least made 100% income in the past few months. Now, you know, some of these stocks have gone back down. The general index, which is like a average of all the stocks, pretty much is really trying to figure out what to do right now, making what would be called a bull flag, which is generally looking like, because it did like hit the top and then fell back down. And then it kind of like, was like figuring out what to do, whether like, the people on the bottom had more power to push it up, people on the top selling had more power to push it down. But what happened was it did break up, right? So it did break up, and now it's forming what usually is called a bull flag, what in the majority of the time would break up again. But you never know. That's just what the chart's telling me. The statistically speaking is going to keep going up. But I gotta say, because of legal regularities, anytime I talk about this stuff, I'm not a financial advisor. Um, don't do what I say just because I said it. Go and do your own research. But yeah, looking at the markets right now, Tesla. Tesla is the craziest one. Like I'm still like, man, Tesla seems to be leading the pack as far as like the big stocks go. This thing re-hit its all-time high. It hit like $1,000 before the pandemic. Pandemic comes, goes down to like $350, hits that $1,000 again. You know, when all the other stocks like hit back up. Only this one now it's gone up to like $1,500. Like it's gone up another 50% just in the past week. Tesla's just crushing it, right? And this keep this in mind, right? When Tesla was 200 some dollars about a year ago, yeah, it was about a year ago. I remember this. It was last summer. And when Tesla hit its low and it was the most shorted, meaning the most people out of any other stock were betting it was going to keep going down after it was already like 200 some dollars. And I was like, man, this is the best deal I've seen in the stock market in like 5 years. A lot of people were telling me like, you know, oh, you know, Tesla's just going to keep going down. I wouldn't touch Tesla. I've talked to people that know what they're doing, and they said, you know, and I was like, man, whatever. And I've said this before on this channel, like I was looking more at, you know, not what all the people on TV were saying, not what all the analysts were saying, who probably would have profited off of Tesla's price going down. But I was looking at more like, okay, well, who runs the company? And, you know, what do I think of their business? And looking at it from more of a business perspective. And I was like, man, Tesla's only going up. A lot of people hate Tesla, but that's what anytime you look at history, you look at great people, you look at great leaders, you look at people that have done great things in history. These people are usually the most hated people at some time or another. And usually these people don't get their respect until after they're dead. So that being said, you know, I was looking at Tesla like, man, everyone's hating Tesla, but sure enough, right? So it goes from like a year ago, like $250, something like that at its low, to right before the pandemic, $1,000, where everyone, a lot of people too, once they hit 500, were saying sell, it's done, goes up to 1,000. Pandemic, within like a month, it's down to 350, back up to, you know, a couple months later, back up to like $1,500 again. I mean, that's just to show like how much money is out here, just to show like how much opportunity is out here. And look at it like I know, you know, when I first got into like the markets and that kind of thing, I would have been sitting here right now like, man, I wish I would have bought more Tesla. If only I would have bought more Tesla. But now I know this is getting into like more videos I want to do for psychology of investing, right? There's always going to be the next opportunity. Whenever it comes to business investing, people make a lot of mistakes because they miss opportunities. They miss opportunities and they get in the mindset of like, oh man, if only I would have done that back then. But that's like the wrong way to be thinking about it. You need to be thinking about it from like, oh, what can I learn from this? Okay, I missed this opportunity. Why did I miss this opportunity? Why didn't I buy more of this? Okay, now the right thing to do is to just be patient and wait, because if you just keep paying attention to these markets, you will see another opportunity, maybe even better than the one before, but you'll see another one pop up. Now, however, what a lot of people do, what I myself has done a long time ago when I didn't understand the psychology of investing so well, is I'll say, damn, I missed that opportunity. I missed that opportunity. And then you'll go and you'll be trying to find like the next thing before it's really time. Like you'll be trying to like make a trade out of nothing. You'll be trying to kind of like, they call it catching up, right? Like kept trying to like chase your losses, stuff like that. Like that's totally the wrong mindset. And that applies to really more than just investing. That really you can apply to anything in life. There's always going to be the next opportunity. There's always going to be more abundance. Once you get that mindset of like, no, there's not more abundance. Like that was like my last chance. Like, oh my God, if I only would have bought Tesla, if I only would have bought that back then. Right. And once you get in that mindset, all of a sudden that's like the opposite of abundance mindset. And that's going to cause you most likely to make decisions that will bring you more of the opposite of abundance. So when you have the right mindset of abundance and you're out here and you're looking at this like, oh man, look what I learned from this Tesla situation. All this was like the best time to buy it was at the time when everybody in the media, for the most part, was really sending a lot of like hatred, disrespect, um, misinformation, tons of negativity towards Tesla and the owner of Tesla. This was the best time to buy, right? So look at it like, okay, well, look at the kind of like the environment around that situation. And then next time something happens, you'll just know right away because it'll be like, oh, look, this is a really good company, in my opinion. All the media is saying, oh, this is horrible, it's going down, everything like that. You know, you'll just start learning more and more, and you'll see more and more opportunities. But really, I always want to say, because like investing is cool and everything, but don't try to invest with too much money than you can afford. Start small. You can make so much money. It takes a long time to learn. Like, it's very rare that people like jump into investing and they do well right away. And when they do, it's almost always luck. And that's bad because then people, they don't know that, it was luck. They don't know what they did right. They have to really like go through a lot of losses and then learn over again for the most part. But yeah, really like there's a lot of opportunity. It's going to take you years and years to get good at it. So don't go and try and like force it in the beginning. There's always going to be more better opportunities. Keep it as like a side thing, right? Like just throw in whatever. Even there's tons of good stocks out there, that are like $10 or less that you can just learn from, that you can like make small mistakes in the beginning. But anyways, yeah, like psychology of investing, all this stuff, because really, like the money I probably put like 10%, right, of the money I make into like stocks and investing in crypto or whatever. But the majority of the money that I have extra, I will invest in my own business. I will invest in my education for myself. Because as I've seen through the years, as I've hired many people, as I've built businesses in the past, that investing in yourself and your own business will pay back like way, way, way more than investing in the markets. But what I'm trying to do with this channel is show people that they can have multiple streams of passive income. What I'm trying to do with my life is build as many streams of passive income as possible. Investing is a stream of passive income, but there's a lot to it. It's not easy. It's, it can be easy. If you know what you're doing, education is the most important thing. The right information can make a lot of money. The more risk you take, the more money you can make. Less risk you take, you already know. So next thing, is going to talk about trending next, but actually I'll just touch on crypto because crypto is not really doing that much right now. Looking at crypto, yeah, I see way more opportunity in the regular markets right now. Crypto's time is not here yet. It's still got a ways to go. I believe in the future, crypto is going to be huge. Just, who knows when. That's a long-term game. Crypto used to be more profitable trading than the markets a couple years ago. Now, basically mainly because the markets took away the regular stock markets. The major brokers now, you don't have to pay fees when you're trading. And the cheapest you can really find if you're trading with anything less than $10,000 per trade is like 0.5% with each trade for crypto is going to be your fee. So now it costs more. And the crazy thing, who would have thought, man, a year ago when crypto was super volatile and it costed like way more to make a trade in traditional markets, to now traditional markets trade free, and there's more volatility in the actual traditional markets than there is crypto. So yeah, I see way more opportunity there. But yeah, getting to the trending thing, other than really the stimulus is one of the most trending things right now. As far as like business goes, as far as like looking at business stuff, of course, the pandemic is going to be the most trending thing in the news, but behind the pandemic, looking at the numbers, More people are wanting to know about this stimulus than anything else. So yeah, you know, stimulus is definitely not represented in the mainstream media um, as much as it is with as far as like the actual analytics show online as far as like people what they want to know, what they're searching for. Mainstream media is really not touching the stimulus that much, for a lot of reasons I can tell. A lot of it's political, a lot of it's like stimulus does not provide like the shock value that they can get from a lot of other things. But yeah, you know, yeah, just before I go on to the next thing, say again, go ahead and smash up the like button, hit the subscribe, coming through with new information steady. So if you haven't already, go ahead and click it. So yeah, I always like when you look at Google Trends, like their top example of like how their site, how their system works is they show interest, United States interest, search interest, Taylor Swift versus Kim Kardashian, right? And so yeah, and like the main thing that you're gonna get the main benefit from Google Trends, or as far as business goes and everything else like that, is really what is trending. But seems that you have to like really scroll down a while to even get to that point. Um, I think Google Trends site could basically be made more user friendly, but I'm guessing that the way they set it up has something to do with advertising. Like they don't actually have ads on the site, but something's telling me that you have to scroll down through some stuff every time before you actually get to the Google trending. And based on my knowledge of marketing and business and everything like that, um, the stuff you're scrolling through, even though it doesn't look like advertising, is probably paid. Basically, advertising. Certain kind of marketing is called native advertising or native marketing, and that's where like say like the news does like a segment on like some kind of like new car or something like that, right? Well, they make it seem like a news article, a news story, but it was actually like the car company paid the news to like make it seem like it was some kind of like news thing or something like that. So basically, yeah, it's called native advertising. Supposedly one of the most effective advertising. Um, I think not for the reason that it's like deceptive and it makes it seem like a news article, but more so that it provides information, like it's informative. Like you have so many, like that's a whole nother thing I'll talk about too when it comes to business. That's another thing. Like, let me know in the comments like what kind of stuff you want me to talk more about. But when it comes to business and marketing, like I could go on and I could talk more about all the different kinds of like marketing there are. Like there's so many different ways of marketing and certain things work better with certain kind of products and services. But yeah, there's a lot when it comes to marketing. Like I'm more from like a psychology perspective of like why people choose to buy, like what certain situations, stuff like that. But yeah, I've always been super interested in marketing. Anyway, getting to trending right now. Number one is actually business today. So it appears to be business, but a company I've never heard of called Wayfair is I really don't understand this well. I need to look more into it. I've only really read the headlines, but this Wayfair company, um, there's a I have no idea. Like I said, like people are saying it's a conspiracy, but basically people are saying that this Wayfair company is being blamed for human trafficking, and people are saying it's a conspiracy. Wayfair is denying it. Wayfair is a expensive furniture company, and people are saying that they're actually a front for human trafficking, which my intuition is saying like this is definitely a conspiracy. There's been a lot of these similar type of conspiracies about business. The to me, I mean, it's horrible, but the funniest one to me was the Pizzagate one that was like on the East Coast, and people thought that this like they started a conspiracy that like these pizza companies were like human trafficking. So people, of course, believed it, and that's the problem with these conspiracies, man. Is there's some crazy people out there, and they believed it, and they went and shot up these pizza places that had nothing to do with any kind of human trafficking. That I think you would have to be like, I mean, you'd have to be crazy to believe this stuff in the first place, right? And then not do any kind of evidence and just believe some random. But that's what I'm saying. There's tons of people out here who believe these crazy, crazy conspiracy theories, and not just like people that you would think like, oh, that person is a crazy person, like they have no say in anything. No, there's a lot of high level people in America who believe in some crazy conspiracy theories, and they have political power. They have all kinds of power, and there's it's just, like I'm just like baffled sometimes, man. Like the type of stuff people believe. I know this is YouTube. Like I would go and I can watch these conspiracy videos and stuff, and it's like comedy to me. Like it just makes me like laugh. Like how can people believe this? This is the craziest thing I ever heard, right? But then there's people who believe this stuff, and then it has me like, wow, you got to be careful, man. There's some crazy people out here, who believe. So yeah, like you got to be careful with this stuff, man. These conspiracy theories that people start. And here's the newest one. Who knows, right? Maybe they are doing this. Maybe it's not a conspiracy theory, but yeah, number one trending today, right? Like I never even heard of this company before. How does a company get to be trending number one? Conspiracy theory. Hey, maybe that's the future of marketing. Maybe that's something I didn't even consider. Maybe it's not even a conspiracy. Maybe it's just the company realized that they could get a lot of exposure. So if this is like the future of marketing, is you could start a conspiracy theory about your own company and get it to number one trending on Google. So yeah, we got stuff about the tropical storm. You got stuff about number one or number three trending really is pretty interesting as far as business goes. Is like government trying to filter social media, government trying to like put limits on social media. A lot of the same government people who have been using social media in really shady ways to basically spread misinformation. And then when social media cracks down on them for spreading misinformation, then they want to try to like say that they can control social media. So yeah, that's a big thing going on right now, right? What's going to happen with the future of social media? You look at Facebook; they were the number one for marketing. Like businesses were spending more money with Facebook advertising than any other company, right? And since the pandemic, a lot of companies have had to stop advertising basically because they've been closed. But there's been a lot of companies that have stopped advertising with Facebook because, and other social media companies because they're basically like boycotting them or protesting them, saying like, "Hey, you guys are spreading a lot of like harmful misinformation, and you're not, cracking down on it. So we're not going to advertise with you until you guys like, fix this problem." So that's a huge thing right there, right? That's going to be interesting to see how that resolves, if ever it does resolve. Um, yeah, we're gonna see what happens with that, but it's a good thing to know as far as business goes, and like looking at how social media is really like one of the most effective ways to advertise right now. So who knows? Maybe that changes. But what I do know right now is because of this is another great opportunity because so few people or so few businesses now have been advertising on Facebook, and of course, Facebook is their leadership and their people who are running it are saying that don't worry, the money's going to come back. They're not saying why or when. They're just saying like without any kind of like information to support it that it's going to come back. Well, who knows, right? But anyways, what I'm saying is like um, Facebook, a lot of these other companies, they're big companies, and because there's a lot less people advertising, that makes the cost of advertising go down, right? So if you're trying to start any kind of like, especially online business, any kind of business, any kind of service like that, like maybe the cost will keep going down, but right now prices are lower than they've ever been in years for advertising, especially online with Facebook. You could use this to your advantage. You've got the Goya products, right? So if you've never heard of Goya, they're like international food products producer. Well, this is nothing new. They just kind of like got picked out, right? Like they're just being made an example of. But they're basically this. So this company is coming out and saying you know, like one politician is good, another politician is bad, and there's supposed to be separations. Like there's a lot of stuff going on as far as like corporations should not be considered as people, should not be like have a vote, like the voting's for people. Like corporations shouldn't control like who's in politics. And also too, corporations are legally not allowed to pressure their employees to vote a certain way. However, as I've seen, like I haven't been employed in maybe like 10 years, but I obviously have lots of friends and family who are employed who have jobs. And what I see is like if there's a certain culture at a workplace and the boss is, about a certain politician, and they might not straight up tell their employees like you need to vote this way, but if you let your opinion be known that you're not on the same side politically as your boss, you'll probably get fired. And they're not going to tell you it's because of that. They're going to make up some other random thing. And, that's totally illegal, but that's going on. That's going on massively. And I've seen a huge increase with this in the past like year or two, election coming up. A lot of companies are saying like, hey, we support a certain politician. Like that's just bad business, right? Because what you do is you alienate a lot of your customers. You're basically saying like, hey, you know, I'm gonna probably cut off a whole section of business. Like basically right now politics are pretty split, so you're pretty much dividing like a lot of people. You're pretty much like losing business, right? And businesses shouldn't be political, right? I mean, of course, businesses are out there like, yeah, well, if this politician wins, then we're going to get this tax cut or whatever. But they never know. A lot of politicians make promises and lies all the time. A business to me is a weakness if you have to go and say that you support a certain politician and create a culture where your employees are pressured to support that same politician or political belief or party. Like that's just wrong to me, right? Like it's a free country. You should be able to. You should not need to feel pressured from your employer, place of work, who is providing you with your paycheck. That if you speak up about your political beliefs or any kind of beliefs for that matter, that you're going to be fired or terminated or monetarily damaged by it. Like, and the same thing with these bosses. They got to know that their employees depend on them for a paycheck, and that they shouldn't. try to influence them to vote a certain way. But that's what's going on. That's what's been going on, and it used to happen a lot more in America, especially back maybe like 100 years ago. And there were laws created so that this wasn't happening anymore. But now I've seen a huge increase in this. So this Goya that's trending number 4 right now, they're getting picked out because they just came and said like, I want to support this politician, and they basically said it in a way saying like, if you don't like, then you don't know what you're talking about, like starting this whole like division political thing, right? And of course you already know what side that's on. Both sides do it in certain ways, but I mean one side right now is just ridiculous with what they're doing. But anyways, yeah, this Goya is trending because they went out and did this. Well, what they're not looking at is like the reason this company was picked out was because they especially have their market is like, so they're saying like, like this politician is good, politician A is good, politician B is bad. Well, it just happens with them that their market, their customers are are like something like 70% from the article I read, um, in the B political party. And they're telling people like, we support this politician. But the majority of their customers, so they're just, they just like shot themselves in the foot by just saying like, we want people to like support our culture of this politician. Like, come on, like your business, like stay out of that stuff, man. That's not for you. Like, let the people be free to vote what they want. Let the people be free to like make their own decisions. Like, you shouldn't be trying to, um, you know, however you want to do it, whether it's political, whether it's business, whether it's just trying to, you're trying to bully people. You're trying to force people. You're trying to intimidate people, and that's what's causing a lot of like unrest right now. I mean, like civil rights, like whether it's like race or whatever, like race aside, you don't intimidate people into trying to make them believe what you believe, right? Like we are in a country where you are free to believe whatever you want to believe. So if you want to get into business, like you can do whatever. That's another great thing is like that being said, you can say whatever you want with your business, right? Like if you build up a successful business and you get some kind of clout and you get a voice and you have people that are going to listen to you, you can go and say whatever you want. Like that's why this country is so great. But I'm telling you, it's bad for business. Like your business goal should be to provide value to people, everybody. Your business goal should not be to divide people. You can do that, but statistically, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to lose customers. You're going to lose a lot of good customers. You're going to have turn your whole business into a political thing. It's just like, don't make that mistake, right? Like, just let your employees think what they want to think. Let your employees vote how they want to vote. Let your customers, same thing. But anyway, yeah, so that's about it for today. Hope you got some value out of what I had to say, coming through to you with new information with no delay. So smash up the like if you haven't already, because I'm coming through with new information steady. Go ahead and hit the subscribe notification, hit the bell button so you can stay in tune with the station, coming through with new information, everything in its right time. So as I learn and I can teach to you the things that I go through, always going to be something new because I always got so much more to do. And yeah, we're going to get it together. We're going to see all this money flow to the right people. Going to see things more equal. So that's it for today. I'm out, without a doubt. And done.